Hello and welcome. I'm here with Andreas Hestler, a Canadian cycling legend, ex-World Cup racer, competed in the World Championships, and now has co-founded the BC Bike Race and is pretty much a BC stalwart of the cross-country past. And stalwart, is that a good word?
Very, very strong word to open up with.
Yeah, no, $6 word. Legend, and just an ex-fierce competitor, and I guess a free rider.
Free ride light.
Yeah, free ride light.
Yeah.
North Shore mountain bike aficionado. There's another big word for you. How are you, Dre?
Things are good. Thanks for asking, and super happy to be here to shed a little light on a different sector of the market, the free ride light.
Awesome.
Oh wait, also known as by some, we were considered tweeners.
Tweeners.
Yeah. When we got done with the cross country and enduro was coming along, we were the XC guys that really liked the Technar, but there wasn't really a marketplace for us before enduro arrived, so we got stuck being tweeners.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah. Well, BC cross country is a lot, more rugged than other places in the world. So, I don't know how you'd classify you, but
Don't put babe in a box.
You're XC and you know it.
Yeah. Well, let's not forget that a lot of that XC happened with cantilever brakes, 1.9 tires, tubes on hardtails with rigid. There were a few toe clips in the original days.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Because you've been mountain biking since 1986, if I'm correct.
Yeah. That's 86. That's right. That's when I got my first mountain bike.
Yeah. Oh my God. So you're from Victoria, but you have cut your teeth more in Vancouver, but you started pedaling around in Victoria, where there's a lot of really fast cross country racers, calling home at some point. And now you live in the North Shore with your family, and tell us about the Victoria to Vancouver transition and what it was like in the early days for you pedaling around on a bicycle.
Well, it's funny. It actually went Victoria, Vancouver, Victoria, Vancouver.
Oh, wow.
There was an extra segment in there. So it all started, I had a bike to commute to school that got stolen. So I went out to replace it, and I got a nice bright fire engine red Norco Pinnacle, 86. And used it predominantly to commute to school. But then we started to explore different trails. I would have been grade 10 at that time, and we were reading the NBA magazines and looking at the Tomacs and the Net Overends and just drooling over the Yetis and the Mantises and all these fancy bikes. And so it was really a burgeoning marketplace.
Had you done other sports like track or any other endurance types of sports, or what sports were you into back then?
At that point, it was like soccer, rugby. I'd done a lot of swimming growing up, but I guess rugby would have been the last sort of organized sport I was doing. And I was a bit of a rocker. You know what that means, right? So I hung out with a bunch of, what were we doing? The punks, and we did a lot of skateboarding. But, once biking came along, it was kind of like that all just slid away, and the biking, that was it.
Were you wearing a black leather jacket or a jean jacket vest that with like bands like felt penned on and stuff?
Jean jacket vest with a patch on the back and some pins on it.
Was it AC/DC?
I had the Who. I was, I thought I was a classy rocker.
Oh yeah.
Feathered hair, just down to the shoulders.
Yeah.
Pack of smokes in the pocket.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And so you did that right to an Olympic athlete. So that's a pretty funny transition.
Well, I kind of quit because there's some seedy things along with being a rocker that you kind of get into trouble, get the wrong side of the law. So by grade 11, I decided to clean myself up because I didn't want to get a record. I was sort of edging that way, and I really wanted to go traveling when I graduated high school. So I kind of decided it's like, let's kind of clean myself up, and so I was pretty good, a little bit more on point for grade 12. I kind of got my shit together.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So how long did it take you after you started racing, or after you started riding in 86 to try racing?
Well,
and did you dominate right away, or did you get schooled?
I graduated high school, moved to Vancouver where my sister lived. There's a little bit of a tree planting story in there where I go away and I come back because I failed miserably. And then
the bugs get you?
it was too much manual labor.
Yeah.
For a guy who finally ended up like working, that was wrong. So I ended up just riding. I arrived in Vancouver to live with my sister, and was working in the restaurant industry, enjoying the summer of Vancouver as a newly graduated high school student. And so I just started riding around, exploring. And that was it. Like, I didn't know anybody. I didn't know anybody or anything. Just riding around, meeting people. And then I got a new bike, a fire engine red Klein Pinnacle. I was attracted to red. Red is fast.
Well, anything that's red is like 3 seconds faster anywhere.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. So then I bought this fancy bike from I even remember his name. I think it's Rob Sybeck at Mountain and Beach. And I met Rod Kirkham. Is that right? At Mountain and Beach up on Main and 23rd.
Okay.
So I started just hanging out at bike stores, like kind of a grom, and eventually started racing. And pretty quick. First race was successful, and the bug was in. That was it.
And so it was short track or traditional cross country, like
traditional cross country. They only had one thing back then. It was a mountain bike race. Would you like to do it?
A mountain bike race.
It's a bicycle.
And you were wearing a helmet by then, eh?
We transitioned to wearing helmets, but it was still very kind of like, you think you had to race with a helmet, but you didn't have to ride with a helmet.
Yeah. Weird times.
It was.
Wow.
Yeah.
And did you do that in baggies, or were you in Lycra?
I started riding. I was wearing wool socks, hairy legs, baggy shorts, and a t-shirt.
Oh my God!
And a fanny pack.
Yeah. Purple.
So it's full circle. Like, where you start, we come back to. Yeah.
The more things change, the more they stay the same.
Here we are.
Wow. Okay. So, you went on to race World Cup for 13 years, I believe. Was it not?
Yeah. First World Cup was around 91, and last one was about 2004. Yeah, it's about 13 years of World Cup racing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the first time I ever heard about you, I was tree planting, and I was driving out into the mountains, and I grabbed a new mountain bike Action off the 7-Eleven, display, and I was reading about this Canadian guy that won a Cactus Cup, and you beat like John Tomac and Ned Overend and Tinker Juarez, I believe, and like
I won, so I beat everybody.
You beat you beat everybody, and I was like so proud of you. I didn't even know you, but I was like, wow, because I was like, I want to be World Cup snowboard racer and take on the world, and there was this Canadian guy that just beat like Tomac and like everybody, like you say. But down in the desert, you ride, in BC and the roots and the rocks, but you're down there in the desert. Tell us about that experience and what it was like to beat a bunch of legends early in your career.
Well, strangely enough, like the desert is technical, and the cornering is based on, like we know how to ride technical. That's what we have in spades, and that's what we're good at. We also have a fairly mild climate in Victoria and Vancouver where we can ride all year long. So we came out of the season fit, because this is like early March, right? Like, you can't even get me on a bike now until it's 10 degrees. So to ride through, I'm like, how did I do that? To ride through a winter, to come out fit. But I was a 25-year-old, bright-eyed kid, but like, it was a whole new world, this whole pro race circuit. Like, I'd done a World Cup, I'd done Canada Cups by then, but it's kind of like I wanted to see how far it could go. And then when I finished the time trial and I was with striking distance of Tomac, I was like second or third. And then when I finished the short track and I was second or third, I was like, wow, this is really it. So we got into the cross country, and it was super technical. Steve Tilford tried to put the squeeze on me, and I was like, I'd already battled him at the Cactus Cup in Whistler, so I'd had a taste and a flavor for the format, and I was a big boy. I'm in the larger size of the XC guys.
Yeah, you were like pretty piped out and a lot bigger than a lot of the guys were, like quite lean and mean and thin and skinny.
Yeah.
And you were kind of like piped out.
We're the big boys.
Yeah.
So, and it's a flat track in where it was in Pinnacle Peak at that point. So the flat track, which Dave Wiens has coined Rolling Thunder, works for the big boys. So it was a track that was technical, basically flat and conducive to a big guy winning.
Because you get your momentum going.
And then out of each corner, a lot of power. So like it's like track or sprint racing, crit racing. You just can drop a lot of power and fitness, technical fitness. Anyway, it all came together. And so I took down the Tomes, Henrik Journeys, won the race, but I was kind of like, it just felt like another race. And while I I think Tomac has honestly got to be my only role model in life because he won downhill, because he won cross country, because he showed diversity as an athlete, and he also went on to road. That's what I'm inspired by him. So by that point, I was kind of like, it's just a racer. They're just other racers, right? But you're welcomed into the upper echelons of the pro, and they're like, respect, dude. And you're like, oh, thanks, guys. I can really, I'm so happy to be here.
What else you say, right? Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. I think when I met Tomac, I freaked him out. I was like, hey, man, how's it going? Pleased to meet you. I'm a big fan. Blah, 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 blah. And he like had his cowboy hat on and he was kind of like leaned back from me like, yeah, pleased to meet you. I definitely scared him.
He's a pretty quiet, studious or stoic fella.
Yeah.
So you come at him with a lot of personality, he's going to definitely, that makes a lot of sense.
Oh, yeah, totally. No, that was hilarious. Wow, okay. So then you went on to race World Cup, and a lot of races are happening in Europe and and on the road and whatnot. What was that like being on the road and riding, like the rain over there as opposed in greasier mud in a way than the traction you have here and eating European food and sleeping in strange places? Tell us about the life on the World Cup tour.
Well, I thought it was really good, actually, because the Canadian team was pretty tight. And so we traveled together. And some of the friends that we had, we'd all grown up and come through the ranks. And so to have good buddies like Roland and Matt Toulouse and
was Seamus on the scene
and Chris Shepard, and Seamus was coming from Ontario. They were younger guys. And so Eric Torville from the East Coast. It was really cool to be on the road. And then we had this crazy Russian coach, Yuri Kasharin, who was trying to form us into the triple T team from Russia, where you must ride very hard. You stop complaining. Why you ask questions? Just do as I say.
Really?
Oh yeah. Yeah. But I'd always wanted to travel to Europe. So it was the perfect way, because my dad's from Germany, my mom's from England, and I'm a first generation Canadian. So to go back to Europe was wonderful. I had a great time, and it was exploring, going to all these venues that were awesome. And the vibe then still carried through from our BC Cup days. It was still a pretty good vibe. You didn't have too much road, what do you call it? Snobby, uptight, super conservative. It was like the new kid on the block, like snowboarding was, I guess. Like
it was so soulful. The MTB side of the.
It really was, and there was a lot of camaraderie with the Americans that we traveled to, because back then, you got on the planes. There was no movies. There was no English television in the hotels. Like you literally read books, went for coffee, no phones. Like so, it was kind of a crash course. So you all the Anglophones glommed together, whether they were New Zealanders or Australians. Like there's 4, 2, 6s, and so together you have an English-speaking crew, and then you meet some of the Italians, and the UK guys were awesome. I was introduced to Pavel Cherkasov, Russian coach, Russian Federation, and it was a really good group of people, and the courses were pretty awesome in the beginning
because they're tech.
They were semi-tech. As tech as European could be.
Yeah.
And that quickly dissipated. It became a professional sport, and the money was involved, and everybody got really serious pretty quick.
Yeah. And what time, like how many years into your 13-year career did it start getting serious?
Well, so if I started World Cups at like 91, 92, just in North America. By the time I'd done my first European World Cup in 95, by 98, I rode for Volvo Cannondale, and it was 99 was like, it's on, it's serious. It's all money. The biggest contract ever is we're getting signed, $3 million over 3 years. It was big money on the table. So by 99, it was full on serious.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Really? I heard some of those contracts back then were like, with the auto deals and whatnot.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know about the cross country world, but talking to Lopes and Miles Rockwell and various guys during the day on the gravity side, it was fat deals. And so the cross country world, I'm sure, which sells more bikes, always have, must have been insane.
Yeah, I mean, some of those people went on to win the Tour de France, so they were on a trajectory to stardom, and it was. And there's people who have a great nose for talent, and they kind of eyeballed those people, and they kept that pedigree moving. But the vibe had changed for sure.
Yeah. From that low key kind of niche little hardcore little sport to a full mainstream.
Yeah, it was trending super hard. Like they used to have 3 waves of 200 people each trying to qualify in Belgium for the main event.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like they had to run qualifying races the 2-3 days before to get the final field ready. And even when I first arrived in 95, I had to do a qualifier for the first World Cup of the year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I ended up with Mike Klug and John Tomac, and I ended up, at that point, I took third because I was like, these guys are legends. But we'd already dropped everybody. We qualified, and I think it was a day later or 2 days later. It was a shortened version, but took a little bit of gas out of my tank.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate because the people that, didn't have to do that.
Yeah.
Well, I guess everyone did, though.
No. The top 50 from the World Cup the year before did not have
Did not
to.
have to.
Yeah.
So you had that taken out of your tank and then had to race.
But it was
against
okay.
them.
I mean, that's what you do. That's what you had to do. And
Another training ride.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Mike Klug, he went on to become world champion, didn't he, at one point?
No, I don't think he was world champion in mountain bike. He did win a World Cup or 2.
Yeah.
I think he only won World Cups in cyclocross. I don't think he was a world champion.
Oh, okay.
But he was definitely a stud.
Yeah. Oh, I know. Yeah. I ran into him in Riva de Garda, and
Yeah.
he still looks ripped. He's so ripped, he needs some tape.
He's kind of like the Marlboro Man if he didn't smoke and he rode a bike.
Yeah, totally. So, did you measure your fitness like the way they do now with VO2s and stuff? Like, do you know what your VO2 was back then when you were at your peak?
Well, yeah, we did along the way because the science hadn't arrived yet either. So while it was a good, fun grassroots, the knowledge on how to eat properly, how to recover properly, didn't exist. And I grew up way over in the west coast of Canada. So when we had to wait for our Velo News to bring the news or pedal magazines that came in the mail, we had no idea what was going on in the World Cup circuit, from road to cross to mountain bike. So news was slow. Information was slow. There wasn't a lot of knowledge base going on. So when we did, the national team cottoned on to the fact that Canada had an advantage in this new mountain bike thing. We seemed to really do well in new sports, trampolining, triathlon, mountain biking. And so they got involved and they started to bring some of the technology and knowledge over from road. So eventually I learned what my VO2 was, which is medium good. It's a 73 VO2 max.
Yeah.
There's definitely better guys out there.
Yeah. But like they say, that's not indicative of what you're.
No.
Like you can be very fit and not have a great VO2. That's kind of like your stock setting, and then you alter it from there with your own.
Well, you can't really, changing your VO2 is difficult. What I would say is it's the mental capacity. How much of that VO2 can you use, right? So how much can you suffer really?
How much pain can you take?
Because somebody can have an 84 VO2, but they only get to 80%.
Because they're
And somebody
soft.
can have a 73 VO2 and use 97%.
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't say soft. You're still going the same speed. You're just coming at it with different assets, right? Mental strength, physical strength, technical ability, knowledge-based recovery, nutrition, and all that comes into the mixing bowl to create the success.
Okay, interesting. What was your max heart rate that you could sustain for a minute?
It's all very individual. So max heart rate, I would run like 182. Nothing fancy.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. So speaking about pain, like where did you go when you were in the pain cave, as they call it, to keep pedaling, to keep pushing, to keep going when you're full of lactic acid and your lungs are screaming, your legs are burning? What mental secrets did you do?
That is a great question, and there's a bunch of parts to it. One of them is what drives you to do it, and to that, it's like, why do you love bikes? And the question is, I don't know. Do you really want to know why you love something, or do you just simply continue to enjoy it?
It's like meeting your heroes, kind of. Do you really want to know why you love it?
Exactly. Yeah. So there was that mystery of why I like biking. And I left that alone. I was like, okay, enough that I love it. And then I loved it in this way. I just like to go hard and push myself like a husky dog. Why do they pull and other dogs look at the sled and they're like, not a chance in hell. So you kind of get some DNA programming. So I always look at that because when I get back to having the great fortune to ride with Richie, ride with Wade, don't ride as much with Thomas, but ride with, like once in a while. But to ride with those guys, well, they're obviously driven by a different love of cycling. Yet they still love bikes, right? So we meet in the middle, and eventually, some people are chasing their skills. They're at the jump park, and they're doing their practice, and I'm doing my practice. But I've always chased the fitness first. I love technical things, but I got to be fit enough before I can work on my technical. So it's just something I love to do. Why did I go cross-country skiing today? Because it's the dumbest sport out there. It's so hard, so technical, but I just love it. And I get into that mode, and it's brought me full circle back to, so what was I thinking about when I was in the pain cave? I was in my happy place. I don't know why. That's my happy place.
Yeah. Okay, interesting. Wow. Huh, okay. So, you've done this thing. You went pro. You were making money. When did you know it was time to do something else, to wrap it up? Because 13 years is a long World Cup career. Yeah. And like I say, you won the national series in Canada 3 times. You were 2-time national champion on the day. You went into other things like the Trans Rockies and doing more endurance races, which you won 3 times. When were you like, and you still race the BC bike race, even though, but when did you know it was time to hang it up for professionally as a rider? Were you told to hang it up, or did you hang it up yourself?
No, well, it's an interesting conundrum in any person's life when you can kind of see the writing on the wall that you should be doing something else, but you don't really know what else to do. So during the later years of my career, just before winning the natural transition, you have speed when you're young, you do all the racing, you get to the highest level, and then you start to decline. So the writing's on the wall that you're not World Cup speed anymore. You see that. So you go and start doing other events, and you're still carrying the torch. People still want to hear what you have to say. You're still going pretty darn quick, but you're transitioning into a different phase of your career. But, some people organize their lives and they're very linear about when it happens. And this is when I'm going to go do that. I'm a little bit more, go with the currents of the wind and as things blow you. So Dean Payne, who's my business partner, BC Bike Race, had approached me, and I didn't know him from a hole in the ground before we went out for coffee. And he says, I got this idea. I want to start BC Bike Race. Of course, it had a different name at the time, and we had to, how that goes. Anyway, so
it's a great name, by the way.
Well, thank you. That was Dean's idea. That wasn't mine.
Okay, he wins.
Yeah. Well, this is a good part about a good thing about a partnership is everybody brings different things to the group mix. Anyway, so I went away, won my 3rd Trans Rockies, came back, and I said, yes, I want to do that. And that was when I knew it was time to transition.
Now, the Trans Rockies is a stage race over how many days?
7.
7 days.
Yeah.
Now, those races were awesome, but from what I understand is that you guys were like, there's too much road. There's too much just basic single track. We want more technical single track. And that's what sets the BC Bike Race apart from every other stage race in the world, is that it's 75, 80% awesome single track.
Yeah. So the Trans Rockies was started by the guys who had started the Transalp. And then that had spurned on the Cape Epic. And so we weren't new to this game. It was just a hot new market. 24 Hours was going off over here, and Xterras were starting up. So the world of cycling was growing and fracturing. But we did think in our minds that there's a different way to do this. We, and love the Germans, height meters. How many height meters will we do today? And then I went to the Transalp, and it was painful. Like, we'd go up for 2 hours on a gravel road, and then you would turn and you would go down a gravel road. 70K an hour. Terrifying.
And eat up all your vertical.
Not even a cow path to hit, or a cow patty for that matter.
Yeah.
So I was like, there's something wrong with this picture. And so the idea was, let's get some single track into it. A whole lot of it.
And that's what works.
Yeah.
Because people love that.
That's when you live here and this is what we ride, that's what we wanted to add our flavor. And there's nothing wrong with the other ones. And each, you go to different restaurants because you want to try different food.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah. So our flavor here is awesome single track.
It's a bit woody and slippery and wet and gnarly, but that's our flavor.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Now, your tagline for the BC Bike Race is the ultimate single track experience. And, you guys have hired me for 6 years or 7 years now. And I have to agree that, it is the ultimate single track experience. I've ridden all around the world. I think I've been to like 38 countries or something, and I've ridden up and down mountains. And the thing I like about the BC Bike Race, I'm never a racer. I'm usually just doing, course animations and helping people change flats or managing knees, and I do some POV videos of the feature trails, do a bunch of different things, hand out watermelons at different aid stations and whatnot, and food and water and whatnot. But when I do actually get to ride the course, I love how you can just get into a flow, and with the ribbons, you just follow the ribbons, and when there's a corner, there's 3 ribbons. And even when you go somewhere and you have a guide, you usually stop in the corners, or you have to, get a shuttle or a directions, or you get lost. Flow busters wherever you go all the time, because you don't know where you're going until you know the place. Yeah. But you can go there, not know the trail whatsoever, and then just follow the ribbons, and you're in the flow for hours.
You get in your zone, you get in your flow, and it's an uninterrupted, blissful time. And then you're in that zone with other people, so the camaraderie builds, and it's the communication happens through like grunting and or when somebody stacks it and you hear that and you're like, oh yeah, you're sorry about that hole. Yeah, but it's like that's for me part of the beauty of the cross country, and then the meditative state while you're in a lactic zone. Your muscles are loaded with lactic acid. The glycogen is depleted from your brain, your liver says no more, and then you're at the top of the descent onto the hairiest single track, and you have to navigate down with wiggly arms, and you're huffing and puffing, and your eyes are blurry, and that is the moment I live for.
Yes, everything else is just waiting.
If you're 5 days into a hard event, and you're 3 hours into that event, and you hit the gnarliest piece of trail in the most depleted state, that's my moment.
Yes.
So we like to share that.
Yeah. So you've raced, all over the world. You've won big races. You've helped create, one of the most successful stage races of all time in the world, and definitely the most successful one in North America. Have you ever won the BC Bike Race yourself in the early years?
Well, in the earlier years,
because you're like a ringer, right?
I was kind of tired and slowing down, and it was hard to be motivated, and it was a very competitive field in the first few years. So I think me and my teammate Kevin Calhoun placed second in the first year, and I won a stage with Max Plaxton and a couple of enduro stages when we tried that. But no, I've never won the BC Bike Race. No, and I've kind of taken more of a back seat just to shepherding. Second. I got a couple of good Canadian, right? Silver.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Sorry.
Sorry. How can you tell when you meet a Canadian?
How can you tell?
He steps on your foot and says sorry. Sorry.
You can always tell an American, but not much.
Uh-huh.
Just kidding down there, guys. Just kidding. Uh-huh. Oh, wow. Okay. So, I see you're still riding it, but you're still doing marketing for it. And what's your role now? You and Dean are the head bosses and co-founders, but what are your guys' roles between you and Dean Payne?
Well, like anything, it's a small business, right? And so we probably have a total staff of 5, and some of those are part-time. So everything, what we got to do. My favorite, many hats are, and so we do whatever's needed, and we kind of divide certain aspects to our strengths. My favorite is finding the courses, fine-tuning the courses, dealing with the locals, and trying to make the best event that we can. The best course. And that really is you can't have a good spaghetti without a good sauce, but you also need good noodles. You need good cheese, right? So there's so much more to a full meal. But so we just divide up what needs to be done. We all wear different hats, and we do a lot of team committee decision-making. Yeah.
Okay. Now, another thing that's unique to the BC Bike Race that I don't know if it's unique, but it's very, very important to it is the animations and all the little characters and people, riding in the middle of nowhere, and some guys playing the guitar out there with like a rock outfit, and some guy will have like a banjo, and then you'll come across the corner, and then there's a bunch of girls in hula hoops.
And the tiki bar.
And then there's the tiki bar by the bridge.
And the jazz trumpet player. Yeah.
And the jazz trumpet player. And you had me out there with like a giant afro. And
We've had Elvis one time. We had the Devil from the Tour de France. We've got Brett Tippie. What more could you want?
It's amazing because like when you're like seeing spots in the middle of somewhere,
Yes,
a little music, a little some dancing girls or a rad dude singing to you or playing some music is totally motivational.
Yeah. Well, we kind of concluded a lot of the tourism people when we were talking to them in the beginning, like, well, how many people are going to watch the event? Crickets.
Yeah.
You ever watched a cross country? I told my parents after a number of years, my dad kind of was like, do I have to come? You're like, I like the Bastion Square crit because I can see you going around and around. I was kind of like, no, you guys don't have to come. I just need you for a bottle feed at every hour.
Yeah.
So I said, let's turn that upside down. We're in these awesome communities: Powell River, Cumberland, Cowichan Valley, Seashell. Let's turn it upside down. Like, let's entertain the people from around. We have 36 countries represented on average every year. People come here to ride the trails that we have everywhere in BC. And, you can show them the flavor of your community by getting out there and entertaining them, making it a real positive. Stand on the side, polite clap. This is quite typically, I'm from Victoria, behind the tweed curtain. So, let's be quite conservative with our emotions. Or you got Brett Tippie. Come on, let's go. So we decided that was a better way to turn it around. Get out in costume. People have fun. Bike clubs are animated, energetic groups. Let's involve the bike clubs in a fun way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really cool. I love it. I just, when I ride along myself, I'm entertained just by all the people. They're entertained, and everybody wins.
Do-si-do.
Yeah. So another thing that you do is you work and you give money back and support back to the trail groups, and you put your money where your mouth is, and some people are worried that there's going to be a race on our trails that's going to be beat, but you guys put a lot of work into the trails before the race and after the race.
On every one of the courses, so we work with a community partner in each one of the communities, the course directors, and then we have a director overall, and then I sort of sit somewhere out there in the sides helping out, and it's a team thing again. And yeah, like, how brushy it gets out in the summer when you're riding, you're whapped in the faces, and then there's bridges that need to be fixed. So in preparation for, it's just one of the things that we focus on is in preparation for our days in those communities, our routes get brushed, cleaned up, bridges get fixed, maintained. Plus, if there's any projects, et cetera, going on. The new model is moving to in organizing with the clubs we're moving to a user-based fee group, but we'll always still continue as we hire those course directors to make sure like the brushing that gets done, and you don't want that, like, we have to take responsibility as a race for the parts that we're using, any damage that gets done, but we prep it, we clean it afterwards, and the moving forward, there's a fixed user fee that goes to the other trails that are used in the community. So the recognition of the trail builders and the clubs and the volunteer hours have gone in, and yeah, we are a for-profit event, but we are community members, and we're mindful of that all the way through it, from the start to the finish. And then when we turn around, we get to brag about these amazing places, and the people from 36 countries go home and they're like, have you been to Cumberland? This is this tiny, amazing town with gourmet trails everywhere. And that, you wouldn't hear that if they're marketing like Tourism Cowichan Valley or, Comox is marketing to Italy. They're kind of like, yeah, well, you haven't really validated that. But you get a story in Pink Bike, and it's like this day and this day and this day. And these small communities have it. So we're just a cog in the wheel that allows us to talk about those communities. And we have a good time doing that.
Yeah. It brings a lot of attention for people to come to those spots and try mountain biking there, and they want people to come because they build trails and they're into riding and people that ride. So it seems like everybody wins. What are some of your favorite locations along on the whole 7-day tour? Because I know it's 7 days of riding, 50 Ks a day on average.
44, I think.
44 is it 44 Ks average?
Yeah.
The biggest longest day is what, 64?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, that's a gnarly one.
It's a leg cracker.
Oh my god. And that's what, Seashell to
Yeah. Earl's Cove to Seashell.
Earl's Cove to Seashell?
Yeah.
That one's a hard one. Sometimes, you've had the North Shore on there, which kind of scared a lot of people.
Yep.
And that's a short one, and people are kind of like surprised, like, oh, that's not that long, but it's like technical. And so that one's always a gnarly one. I was, for myself, I was like, well, Squamish, of course, is always good. People love that one. But Powell River, I find just green and just like riding in grandma's living room,
Yeah, exactly. Like, and that's the beauty of anywhere you go in BC, from the Kootenays to northern BC to the Chilcotin region or Vancouver Island. There's always a different flavor. We describe trail riders, mountain bikers, as wine connoisseurs or beer snobs. We're just dirt snobs.
Yeah.
I like that, or the topography, right? Like some days you're in, like Powell River is unique because it's literally pancake flat, but it's 50 kilometers of the thinnest brown ribbon of trail running through electric ferns and green moss.
So
and you're just like, how does this place exist?
Yeah.
It's just so beautiful. And it's so remote, people don't go there. But now we've been able to tell their story. People are taking their holidays to go to Powell River. 10 years ago, we were driving right by it. We didn't even know.
Yeah, totally. Why would you?
Yeah.
Why would you? And then the camping on the beach with the nice sunset after riding, like jumping in the ocean and whatnot. Absolutely unreal.
But I think the key is there's so much, and why you've been to 38 countries. I've been to probably something very similar, but it's the road trip, right? Like most of the people that come, they come from somewhere else. They bring their buddies, or it's two sisters, or it's a mother-daughter or father-daughter combinations where they share that travel experience. But without the bike aspect to that, it's just like, that's the people we are. We go somewhere, we taste the dirt, we eat the food, and we experience that community. That's what mountain bikers are. And so, but I loved Peru. I loved Argentina. Costa Rica was really tough. We went to Switzerland a few years ago, and it was awesome. I got to get back to New Zealand. Like, you're just ticking off the places, but there's amazing mountain biking, but you got to get there.
Yeah. And you got to make it happen. Like, the moment of riding is the moment, but there's like the commuting, the packing your bike up, the getting off the plane, and
where do I go?
Where do you go, right?
Yeah.
And that's what's so nice about the T-bike race is that it's like it's a turnkey unit. You turn your brain off, you step into the BC bike race world, and you're swept away. And people take care of setting up your tent, the food. You've got people who can fix your bikes with Obsession bike stores.
Don't forget about the massage team.
The massage team.
And the beer garden.
Like, so basically all you have to do is ride your bike.
Yeah. Sounds good, eh?
Like, jump in the bus.
Yeah.
Jump on the ferry.
Yeah.
You've got like people, okay, we got here, and you have like nice little, like a little schedule to here, to there. You got food set up in two different
wait.
stations.
Before we get people salivating, the things are different right now. So some of those things are going to have to be taken off the plate, unfortunately, for this particular immediate future.
Yes.
So that's the kind of the crux of where we're at with planning for the future and it's going to have to be different as we get back to what you described.
So how many years was the BC bike race going until
13 years.
Last year? 13 years.
Yeah.
Consecutively, bigger, better. And like in the last of the 13 years, 600 riders?
Well, we kind of plateaued, and we had BC ferries and some of the base camps like Powell River. We couldn't have, we ran out of space. And that also aligned with our responsibility to the trails, to not pack too many people onto the trails, even though they're pretty hardy, and that time of the year they're quite resilient. So we were kind of capped at around 600, and sometimes it was 580, sometimes 620, but it was a 600, and that was we found our ceiling.
Yeah,
and it was good, but now.
So now it's COVID times.
Yeah,
and. You couldn't make it happen last year. A lot of things didn't happen last year, unfortunately. You had some virtual pedals scenarios where you could look at the big screen and virtually do some training. But you're trying to get her going again, but with a different setup, different locations, and not crammed in the bus and whatnot, and a little more COVID friendly and whatnot.
Safety first. It always is. We've got one of the biggest safety teams out there. It's probably overkill. I think the medical guys just like together and hang out. But yeah, we don't want to go too far down this road because we're still in this unknown zone where I don't have anything to add to, but I just know that it's going to be different for the next couple of years until we can figure out what is the safest way and what the got used to this term, PHO, Public Health Authority, PHO. Anyway, we don't know. We don't have the direction yet, but we got to run predominantly. It's safety first. Yeah. And so what that looks like, I don't know.
Don't know yet.
Yeah,
we'll see.
Yeah, but we're plans on plans on plans. We're making new plans, and we got more plans within those plans. So it's actually really difficult to be making plans in a complete void of knowledge.
Who knows? Yeah.
And so it's a tough place to be, but I feel like we've built some calluses over the last year, and it's not as tough as it used to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, another thing that you've got going on is a gravel ride, which is a departure from the traditional mountain bike single track. Yeah. And there's a lot of people that love to do this type of biking, and we've got some great places to do it.
Oh my God!
Tell us about the BC Gravel. What do you call it?
BCBR Gravel Explorer. And the exploring is at the root of what we were talking about, traveling with your friends or your family, with even by yourself and meeting other people, exploring. And when you go to different regions, every bike ride is an exploration. So the idea on gravel is you're just exploring different areas in different ways. So we are slated for September 26th to October 1st in the Penticton region of the Okanagan. And we're very excited about this 5-day event.
Oh, wow. And so 5 days, and, it'll be like along the old railway or...
Well, we're going to use it's the Kettle Valley Railway, KVR, but no, we're going to put a lot of BC Bike Race flavor in there. So we want to see what these new gravel bikes can do. So it's going to be a challenge. It's going to be a curated experience, as our BC Bike Race has been for 14 years. So yeah, it's 5 days. It'll be, I call it baking a cake. Some days are smaller, some days are longer. We want to, they've got beautiful single track out there. They've got the KVR to connect different zones together. BC has forestry service roads, FSRs, for days. So we've got all this. Throw in a bag, mix it together, shake it around, put it beside a lake. What do you call that? The Okanagan.
Boom!
Boom!
Area code 250. Wow. And you know what I like about the BC Bike Race is that you can be out there in the middle of nowhere and, you'll have your safety crews on enduro dirt bikes with full medical training and walkie-talkies, able to assist anybody on the spot. And you've got, different people like your patrollers on traditional pedal bikes and some on e-bikes as well.
Yeah.
Able to, assist people with broken parts, flat tires, and whatnot.
Emotional breakdowns.
Don't
get divorced today. It's not a good time. Wait till the end. Sugar might help.
Yeah. Here's a fire bar. Hope you guys make it. So at any time, you can be out in the middle of nowhere, but you're totally supported.
100%. And that's the... you mentioned guiding before, and I've been on 1,000 guiding trips, and I love it too. But when you're going on a guided trip, one person has a bike that doesn't work, and they keep having flat tires or broken chains, everybody stops.
Everyone suffers.
And for me, coming from a race background, I go to races, and I'm not really interested in how I do, but I'm interested in getting back into that flow state, that uninterrupted meditative state where I can just put my head down and go. And, you're going to find a group of people that are going to be your camaraderie, and you're going to travel a chunk of time, and you're not going to be, somebody has a flat and you're like, sorry, dude. Yeah, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
Somebody bonks, blows up. They'll get picked up and taken care of by that support network. But it's, kind of a little bit selfish, but that's what I like. And that's what, obviously, the people that go to races, they want to get, and then you cover some more distance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you go with a group of people, you have the buddy system. You have to stop and make sure you're with your buddy. You don't want to leave anybody.
Caterpillar.
Yeah. You can't. You can't just go. You got to, stay and be a team player or whatnot.
Yeah.
But at the BC Bike Race, you can just go because they're going to be taken care of by somebody.
Yeah,
That's so cool.
Well, marked course, all the sweeps, all the bike patrols. Yeah, it's a very safe environment, so you can kind of just indulge yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, it is the ultimate single track experience, and good luck with the gravel.
Thank you. Thank you.
Explorer, I believe you're calling it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Another thing that I'd like to talk about, since we just mentioned e-bikes, is you went to the e-bike world championships recently, did you not?
I did. I did. Yeah.
And dusted off the old racing mentality, and took your power play.
Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah.
Where was it, and what was it all about?
So it was 2 years ago now. It was the first ever mountain bike world championships at Mount St. Anne, Quebec. Now, that is the longest standing World Cup venue in the history of mountain bike World Cups. They do a great job. Jestev's been the organizer there for, I don't say 25 years or something. It's ridiculous.
Oh, he always just hires the beautiful ladies. He's like, there's the boss, and then
I think that's just the locals.
like,
they're just all like that.
They're all beautiful.
All the way from Quebec, just beautiful.
I don't mean to be superficial, but that's just on the outside.
So for me at this vintage, some years I'm fit, some years I'm not. And, I will get around to talking about the kids eventually, but it comes and goes, right? So when they said, we'd like you to race this, and I was kind of at that point lukewarm on e-bikes, like, they're okay. They're for trail builders, or they're for, people who need this. I don't need this. And so anyway, I got talked into going out there. I talked to the national team about the organizational process. I got registered. I ordered the baggy shorts and the baggy jersey. And when I got there, they gave me the Lycra jersey and the Lycra shorts. And I was like, oh, man. Now, thankfully, I was fairly fit for 48 at that point. And that's the third world championships I've been to at Mount St. Anne. Yeah, I've been coming there a long time. At any rate, the course was so awesome. And the bike ride was so fun. It was so gnarly, so technical. All the pretenders that didn't know how to ride mountain bikes punted right away. I'm elbow to elbow with, what's that New Zealand guy? The downhiller.
Oh. Win Masters?
Yes, who did the race as well.
Okay.
And I was coming down Beatrice's downhill, and he was coming on the inside. I was like, I better shut this down before he flicks me over the edge.
Yeah.
Anyway, so it was a great race, super challenging, super technical, and it gave me a new vision on what e-biking could be in the way I like it. So since then, 2 years, I have been nonstop e-biking, and what it's allowed me to do is to ride new trails, ride trails differently, and I approach it a little bit more like a trials motorbike. So I get deep into the ups and punishing myself on gnarly climbs where I wouldn't normally go, and it's like a whole new world's opened up. And I still ride my A bike a lot, gravel bike, but if I'm cross country skiing 3 days in a week, I've got room for 2 more e-bike rides, and I won't smash my legs, and I get to go ride crazy stuff out there.
Yeah. And cover a lot of Ks, I'm sure, with your engine.
You still North Shore Ks. You don't go very far.
Yeah. It seems like it. Yeah. Wow. Well, that's cool. And I heard that in the race that it was kind of crazy because the guys at the front were like pushing beyond like the governor of the bike, which only lets you go so many kilometers. So they're pushing and pedaling without even assistance of the engine, like working through the engine, just going for it anyways.
Yeah, I think the guy who won was the U23 world champion, and it was basically 23-year-olds. Then there was the 27s, 29s, and Julian Absalom was there, and then you're trickling back, and so I was pretty much where I would have thought I'd be for a 48-year-old guy in that field, and so I said, "Did I like it? I had a great time, but I like racing." Was the course good? Course was great, super challenging. Did everybody win? Like, was there any cheating or anybody hopping up the engines? You're like, it was exactly the way you would have thought it would run down for who should have won.
Yeah.
The youngest guy.
Oh, that's funny. Wow. Speaking of cheating, hopping up the engines, like you have a reputation of always being super healthy, super clean. You know, over your career, you've known some people who have, done some things to their body. How did you feel? How do you feel about that? People cheating and doing drugs to increase their performance.
Oh, this is a topic that I loathe to talk about because it's such like it came to our sport. It came from the road world. If you have to play back the number of things that could have been different or where would I have been, you're going into that tape recording of, that race should have been better. That should have been better. That could have been, would have been, should have been. And that's not a life we live or I want to live. So everybody does things and that's what happened. It doesn't make, I don't know. I honestly just try to ignore it because I got friends who were growing pot back in the day, selling pot, and that was illegal. And now it's legal. And you're kind of like, so how some of those people went to jail and now you wouldn't go to jail. So how do you woulda, coulda, shoulda, or when did we do prohibition or not prohibition? It's just we shouldn't probably get into it because it's going to be like a 2-week-long conversation to pick apart each nuance and then debate it.
Yeah.
Like it's just, there's too much. Like, yeah, it provided.
Have you been pressured by any sponsors or anyone to super yourself up?
Again, another story. I could tell you things that have happened through my career, but it would get into like, it just leads to more questions and more questions. And
yeah.
It's like, it's a slippery slope and there's some funny things and there's some dumb things and but for the most part, it's like, there were decisions that had to be made and people made their own personal decisions. And it was a particular era. And I think I skated, I told you like when the money got into the sport and I was on my basically way out as getting older, that was a time when the road was getting into mountain and it was kind of starting to get serious.
Yeah.
And when there's money on the table, shit gets real.
Yeah.
That's not PG, sorry.
No, it is real though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
Huh. Crazy, eh?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So now talk to me about living on the North Shore, with your family, you've got a successful race happening and you've got your fingers in different pies and you've got a beautiful house and your son Easton is riding and you and MJ are very happy here on the shore. What's it like balancing, parenthood and family life with getting out and shredding?
You got
to be organized.
So I got 2 boys. They are 8 and just about 12.
And they both ride.
They both ride, yeah. So we ride, we ski. And my wife, MJ, she's learning to ski and loves riding and runs, which I can't do. So, yeah, it's just a really busy life. And so you're I work for Rocky Mountain Bikes with the marketing team there. I work with BC Bike Race. I've got 2 kids. And at the end of the day, what athletes are and why they become successful is because they're selfish.
That's true.
And that's the truth.
You have to be.
You have to be
fast or good. Or
to dedicate all those parts of your life to being really good at one thing. So, as you know, I'm sure you can look around the wall at every one of these guys and as they have families, taking that part of you out. And now we've got long careers and we're older now. So you're not so, obviously, I could imagine being a young racer with a family, like that balance would be too much for my head. So taking that selfish part that you really enjoyed and you did it right and removing it or some of it or exercising that demon is hard.
Yeah.
And then but we've done our lives, and I'm happy. It's chasing fitness, but that's why I go cross country skiing. That's why, because fitness is first for me, and rides are shorter. And when guys go sledding and touring, and they have all day, oh man, I want to go. But that's just it's too far, too much.
Yeah.
Time is the commodity.
Yeah, no. Well, that's the ultimate commodity, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then e-bikes are good. Whatever you can crunch in a short period of time. But I will tell you, Wade finally talked me into getting a motorbike. After getting browbeat by Mitchell and Seamus and all my friends who moto, Wade finally hooked me up. I bought a motorbike, and this weekend we're going, dare I say it, we're going dirt biking.
Whoa.
Yeah. It's my first foray back in.
So you're not just e-biking, you're like full combustion engine dirt biking. Who would have thought?
When you're going to throw away all that selfish part of yourself, you might as well take up a whole bunch of new hobbies and get really humbled.
It's scary, eh?
It is, yeah.
Climbing, descending, just going across the flats at like potentially high rates of speed with a twist of the throttle.
Yeah, 250 two-stroke engines with whiskey throttle and a bunch of newbies on board, 50-year-old newbies. You're like, oh, this is a recipe for disaster. Call the ambulance now.
Your life is in your Maxxis tires. Wow.
Yeah.
I dirt biked as a kid myself, and I had a YZ80 or GT80 to YZ80, a KDX 200, and eventually after Crank 4, I got some money and I bought a KDX 200, and then I mountain biked a lot up until I had that dirt bike, and then when I first got it, I pigged out. And I think I got it, and I rode 3 months in a row, and I was supposed to be, riding my mountain bike, and I had a new Slayer.
Yeah.
And I came back down to Pemberton to go to Tower Power to do a shoot with this new Slayer, and it had to be no pads, open face, and this head angle on the Slayer back then was quite steep. And so after riding this dirt bike for 3 months almost straight, I got on this little bicycle. It felt so like a toy.
Yeah.
And there's 2.5, 3 gnarly moves on Tower of Power, legit moves.
Yeah.
And I did them, for the photographer, but I was forcing myself to do it because it felt so sketchy compared to the dirt bike with the big suspension, the big brakes and whatnot. I remember just going, I can't have a dirt bike. I can't ever do this again.
Yeah.
But I want one. I want one. Yeah, totally. Wow, the dark side, eh?
I know, deep into the dark side. But you know what that means, right? Everyone's like, what about your kids? And you're like, well, they'll come along eventually. But, I got to put my feet into the water first. And the wife has said, no, she's not going to probably ever get there. But actually, I want to get, and you were showing me your bikes. I want to get my eldest son an e-bike. He can share it with mom. And then, who cares? We're having fun, right? Let's get out there any way we can to enjoy the woods. Building little young, how do you say it? Like
multi-gliese, all mountain shredders of it all.
Exactly. Like I've not, we are starting a bike club this summer. So he'll be riding on a regular basis, mountain bike club, and I want him to enjoy it. But all of the competition or competitive side, that's all in them. And I'll support. What do we do as parents? We support whatever you want to do. I expose you to new things, and then we support you. So we just want to keep them going, and maybe dirt bikes are in the future.
Yeah, that's cool.
Brap, brap.
Oh, two-stroke, eh? Is that what you
got?
got?
A two-stroke.
Did you? What'd you go for?
It's an older bike, 2011 KTM 250 XCW two-stroke.
Oh, okay, so you got traditional spacing of the gears, but with a heavy flywheel with that bike.
Oh, you got me there.
You do.
It does have a recluse clutch.
Oh, nice. That makes it easy.
I don't know, the flywheel's a 51 and the front's a 13 sprocket.
Okay.
We just took the whole thing apart. Had to weld a few things. Mitchell helped with that. And then rebuilt it, motor out. I was working with the KTM rep, and awesome guy. Pulled it all apart. Plastic off, everything. And then just all the new stuff back on. New rotors, new brake pads, new plastics, new radiators, new tires, new bearings, the swing arm off, new bearings in the wheels. It's like a brand new bike.
Yeah. Oh, good for you.
Yeah. Psych.
Who would have thunk it back in your days?
Rap.
Yeah, totally. Hey, I like all bikes. All bikes are good.
All things two wheel.
Yes. Yeah, totally. Wow. Well, that's pretty much full circle.
Wait, I didn't have a fanny pack. We're not quite full circle.
Oh, yeah, you put the fanny pack on, and then you're full circle. I love it. I love it. I don't have a fanny pack myself, but I need one. Actually, you know what? I do have one that's actually skin colored, and it's got little a belly button and hairs, and it's just gross. It looks like if you let it hang it below your shirt, it looks real. It looks like looks gnarly. I don't like to actually wear it because people think it's actually the real thing, and I'm not quite there yet. Okay, well, thank you very much. Before we go here, I asked you to bring a joke. You got a joke for me that's like not too crazy for our viewers out there.
Okay,
but
I'll tell you this joke, and I'll try to speed it up because it's one that comes with good telling. And this is my 11-year-old son's joke.
Oh wow, okay.
So there's a priest, and he goes to the fishmongers, and he wants to buy some fish. So he says, "Hello, can I buy some fish?" And the fishmonger says, "Yes, would you like some damn fish?" And the priest says, "Oh, I'm a priest. Don't talk like that around me." And the fishmonger says, No, they're caught by the dam, so we call them damn fish. And, "Oh, okay, yes, I'd like some damn fish, please." And so he gets home, and he throws down the fish on the counter. He goes, "Honey, I've got some damn fish." And she says, "Oh, what? You can't say that." He goes, No, they were caught by the dam. That's, so they're damn fish. Okay, so... they're having dinner later that night. They've cooked up the food, and the whole family is sitting down. And again, the priest says to his wife, "Honey, can you pass the damn fish?" And the son says, "That's it, Pop. Can you pass the fucking salt?" So when an 11-year-old says it, you're like, it's going along nicely, and then he goes, "That's it, Pop. Can you pass the..."
You're like, and then you end up laughing. I love it.
Yeah.
Oh, that reminds me of the 11-year-old that answers the door when the salesman knocks on the door, and the 11-year-old answers. And the kid shows up, and he's got a felt fedora hat on. He's got a glass of brandy, a lit stogie, the remote control. And the salesman is like, how come is your parents home, kid? And the kid says, "Does it freaking look like it?"
Did you ever hear the one about the condom salesman?
Oh, no, I have not.
So the condom salesman, he's a door-to-door salesman. He goes up to the door, knocks the door, housewife opens the door. And he says, "Would you like to buy some condoms?" And she's like, "What's a condom?" And he's like, "Oh, it's for covering your cigarettes in the rain." "Oh, sure, I'll have a dozen." So she goes through those, and I guess they work. And then she goes down to the Shoppers Drug Mart, and she says, "Do you have any condoms?" And they're like, "Yeah, sure. What size?" She's like, "Big enough for a camel."
Oh my God. Did you know the new sheet condoms come in triple extra large? Didn't know that, eh?
No, I didn't know that, actually.
Oh, what's the difference between 365 used condoms and a used tire?
Nope.
One's a good year, one's a great year.
Yeah. Okay, what have you... I was with Wade for a year. We were doing what you do. You pick one joke from everybody. Gully had a great joke. I always remember this joke. Have you heard of Captain Red Shirt?
Captain Red Shirt, no.
All right. So the pirates are at sea, and the lookout from the crow's nest yells down, Captain, I've spotted some booty." Anyway, the captain's like, so get to arm yourselves and get ready to board and get me my red shirt. And the little guy says, "Hey, what's with the red shirt?" He's like, "Well, you see, the captain wants to be brave in front of the men. If he gets some shrapnel and he bleeds, nobody will know it, and he'll just be out there strong for the boys." So a month goes by, and the lookout from the crow's nest yells down, Captain, there's 5 ships." The captain says, "Arm yourselves, get ready, let's board them." They take them all. "Get me my red shirt." And they get all the treasure. Another month goes by. Lookout yells down, Captain, 10 ships." The captain says, get ready, we're going to board them. Get your arms and your guns and your cannons and get me my brown pants."
Oh, Captain Brown Pants.
Captain Brown Pants.
Oh, awesome.
That was Gulovich.
Oh, very nice. Funny guy. Mm-hmm. What's a pirate's favorite letter?
It's the R or the C.
Well played. Oh, awesome. Dre, it's been a pleasure. Thanks for having a word with us, and sharing your experience throughout mountain biking since the '80s, and congrats on a amazing career and amazing job, spreading a lot of joy to the people with the BC bike race, and it's a pleasure and honor being your buddy, and thanks for coming on the show.
Well, thanks, Brett, for having me. It's been a real pleasure, as it always is, spending time with you. Wish we could do it a bit more often. Good luck. This is awesome.
Awesome. Say goodbye, everybody.